All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are talking Seattle Seahawks rookie Jared Ivey. Ivey in his final preseason game of his rookie career with the Seattle Seahawks showcased a lot of toughness. He got banged up early against the Packers, but finished strong. We'll break down everything he did so well. If you're a fan of these film reviews and want to support us to do more of them, consider becoming a member of our channel. There's a link in the description box below. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, we're going to open up with a pass rush off of play action. There's Jared Ivey right there, lined up in what we're going to call a 5 technique on the outside shoulder of the tackle right here. So this is a common scheme that teams like to run on short yardage situations. What they do is have the offensive line all act like they're zone blocking, like it's a run, to one direction like this, and they fake the running back this way and have him leak out into the flat. Quarterback fakes and then runs out this direction. It's really tough, right? And they leave the guy in Jared Ivey's position, the defensive end here, unblocked, because one of two things usually happens. Either the defensive end gets suckered down inside, or when he tries to peel out, he doesn't have the athleticism to get to the quarterback. Ivey shows off his savviness and intelligence. He's able to recognize that it's not a run, it's a play action. He reacts, and despite having that bad bum ankle that got hurt, he powered through it and made the play. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see the offensive line all slanting to their left. You can see the play fake right there. Quarterback's trying to get outside the defense. He can't because Jared Ivey's there to make the play. Again, he's unblocked, but that's the design of the play here, guys. The whole concept here from the offense is that this defensive lineman is either not athletic enough or won't be able to recognize and react in time to get to the quarterback. Jared Ivey, despite battling through an injury, despite playing through pain, is both. And again, holds on to him. Smart play here. Doesn't overrun it right here. Well, sometimes you see quarterbacks put on the brakes, defensive linemen fly by. Here, Jared Ivey does a good job. No dumb penalty either. Doesn't grab the face mask or anything. Just wraps him up and makes a play. Gives the Seattle Seahawks a big 4th down stop. Again, it was a long slog in his final preseason game this year for Jared Ivey. Banged up, powering through a lot of injuries, a lot of different Green Bay Packers looks. But the young defensive lineman, number 51 here, overall had a solid performance. I think he would be a great addition to the Seattle Seahawks team, both in the short and long term. All right, from the wide copy, you're going to see Jared Ivey right there. The moment he recognizes play action, runs right to the quarterback, makes a play. It looks a lot easier than it is, but when there's so much chaos in front of you, remember, he's reading this tackle, so he sees the tackle go away, so he takes one step inside. Now he sees the running back's like, oh, I got to flatten out, and now he realizes it's a play fake and immediately turn that quickly and react. This is natural athleticism, guys. This is something you can't teach, right? This is see ball, get ball, right? There's a lot of really smart guys that would get caught up in all this chaos, all this trash here, and instead, Jared Ivey runs around, makes a play, gives the defense a stop. All right, how about some run defense? And there's Ivey right there, once again on a 5 technique alignment on the outside shoulder of the tackle there. We're going to get a gap concept here, running concept here for the Green Bay Packers, trying to run downhill right around that spot. We're going to get a double team right here between the center and the left guard, working up to the backside linebacker. Base block here, double team between the tight end and the tackle, working up to play side, and the tight end over here, the second tight end working out. So Jared Ivey, he's going to give some double team action right here. Like I said, the tackle's not going to stay on very long. It allows Ivey an opportunity to beat this tight end, which he does, makes the play. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. We can see the double teams across the board. We can see the base blocks, right guard, right tackle. You can see the left guard right there, left tackle, excuse me. He quickly works up to the next level. Doesn't get a lot of movement right there. That's Jared Ivey. Again, holds his ground. A little higher on the double team than I would like, right? I would love for him to do the classic technique of dipping your knee and trying to get a little lower, but he still is able to fight through the garbage, beat the tight end, and make the play. Oh, look, that's what it comes down to when it comes to Jared Ivey, right? He's just a playmaker. And against the Raiders earlier this preseason, he was pretty much unblockable, and he's that same still level of skill set. He's also a guy that can make plays. He's a tackling machine, pressure machine. He is a guy for an undrafted free agent who just finds a way to get the job done. Good, old-fashioned football player. All right, from the wide copy, you're going to see Ivey right here again between the tackle and tight end. Watch the double team come. Any movement surrendered? None whatsoever. He holds his ground. That's great right there. Again, they're expecting some movement there. They get absolutely none. Then Ivey plays off the tight end and makes a tackle. Look at this extension. I always love the extension right there. So your face mask to face mask, bench press extension. Love to see that. Now fight off and make the play. That's why you lift the weights, guys. That's why you hit the weight room, right? Your hand-to-hand combat right there, face mask to face mask. Then you bench press them off you, recognize what's coming, and then make the tackle. All right, sometimes you get handed an opportunity, and when that happens, you got to take advantage of it. So you can see Jared Ivey right there. He's lined up in a 4-eye technique on the inside eye of that tackle right there. And it's going to be a toss to the right from the Green Bay Packers working this direction. And the tackle right there, tight end right there, they're all working up to the next level. And you would think normally this guard here would try and reach Ivey. But for whatever reason, this guard works up. I think this guard 64 thinks Ivey's a 5 technique. These two guys don't communicate very well. So instead of 71 getting him, he works up and no one blocks Ivey. He takes advantage of the opportunity. When you go unblocked, you got to make the play. 51 does. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see Ivey goes unblocked. You can see 64 and 71 work up to the next level. That's not good for those guys. Miscommunication error. But when you get the opportunity, you got to make the play. And that's what Ivey does. Again, he looks a little ginger out there, right? He's battling through some pain, and he did a heck of a job. Talk about a warrior effort fighting for a roster spot. Love to see it, right? There's a lot of guys that maybe would have checked out of the game and maybe checked out of the NFL career, but not Jared Ivey. Battling through the pain, showing the toughness. Love what he showed. Again, he's running around, right? He's not just a big nose tackle or something like that where he can just sit in the middle of the field. He is having to cut on his foot. He's sideline to sideline, motoring to make tackles. Jared Ivey doing a really good job here. Again, going unblocked, you got to make the play. If you can't make the play, you can't play. And Jared Ivey, despite being injured, does just that. All right, from the wide copy, get a good look at Ivey right there. Both the guard and the tackle are just going to bypass him. He goes free and immediately stops on a dime, makes a play. Good bend right here. Even with the injury, right here he recognizes, oh crap, it's an outside run. Sometimes these defensive linemen, when they go unblocked, they fire up the field too fast, especially in this situation, and they run past the running back, and it almost works out for the offense that they went unblocked. But Ivey does a good job. Again, recognize, react, natural athlete, despite being hurt, makes a play, good rep. Now let's hear from the sponsor of today's video.
We'd like to give a big thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring today's video. Football season is right around the corner, and if you love the thrill of live betting, DraftKings has got you covered. Bet on live in-progress games right as they happen, and if sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry, you can still join in on all of the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports and have a shot to win cash prizes. And remember, new customers who bet $5 will get $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's right. New customers who bet $5 will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to DraftKings Sportsbook today and sign up using our promo code SMI. Again, head over to DraftKings Sportsbook and sign up today using our promo code SMI.
All right, now let's talk about effort. And there's Jared Ivey right there. I'm going to call this like a true 3 technique, I think, just outside, the outside shoulder of the guard there. You can make an argument it's a 4-eye, but essentially he's a B-gap player by alignment. But what the Green Bay Packers are going to do here, it's going to be play action. So they're going to motion number 43, the H-back pre-snap. They're going to fake to the running back, quarterback is, and he's going to settle in the pocket and try and find somebody deep. No one's opening. He ends up checking it down to the running back right there. And you can see a lot of lines and arrows. Let me clean some of that up. Jared Ivey doesn't get through on this play. He gets blocked. The Packers do a good job handling him in this situation. They throw a lot of bodies at him. They end up getting, I think, 3 guys get a different shot at him before it's all said and done. So he gets battered around on this one, but he still fights through, showcases the effort, and ends up making the tackle down the field on the running back. Let's check it out. There's the motion. There's the play fake. Quarterback's got time. No one's open. Runs out of time. Hits 44. Ivey hustling around. Makes a tackle. Nice play. Let's go back to the very beginning and look at Jared Ivey, number 51 here. You talk about effort, talk about a rough play. So it's a play action. So he's trying to read run. He gets hit by 71, gets picked up by 64. So he's double teamed there. You can see the tight end right there throws a chip on him there. So he's got 3 guys on him, right? So he ended up dealing with 3 Green Bay Packers. No surprise. Right here, you get basically a one-on-one matchup on a running back. So no surprise someone else got through, right? You would expect. If one defensive lineman's got 3 guys getting their attention on him and 2 offensive linemen, someone else has to get through. And another Seattle Seahawk, actually 2 guys, end up getting through before it's all said and done. So again, sometimes you don't make the play on the stat sheet, but just drawing attention will help out your defense. But it's the next level. Again, this dude's banged up. He's had a long day, but he's still fighting, still scratching, still clawing. Can't get through, recognizes it's a dump off, fights through the garbage, and makes a tackle. I tell you what, I know it doesn't sound like much, but I see a lot of defensive linemen, both regular season, preseason. They get double teamed like this. They kind of stop. It becomes a lollygag. It becomes kind of like a half speed effort, if that. Right, but you don't see that from Jared Ivey, and he's an undrafted free agent, right? And you would expect a little bit of effort from a guy trying to make the NFL, but you'd be surprised how many guys just don't have it, right? You talk about a good old-fashioned football player. That's what I think of when I see Jared Ivey. He's a competitor. Is he the most perfectly marbled athlete of all time? Is his measurables absolutely outstanding? Of course not. We've talked about that a lot this offseason. But in terms of just playing hard, competing, and winning, Ivey does that. Now from the wide copy, you can see Jared Ivey again. You're going to count the guys, right? 1, 2. 3 guys, right? 3 guys on him, right? He's double teamed right there. Ball's gone. He's trying to find a place to get to the running back and ends up making the tackle. Again, you talk about effort, guys. It's 3rd down, right? He's trying to make a play. Ends up being a 1st down for the Packers, but this is how you get off the field, right? You have guys that are battling through injuries, getting double and triple teamed, opening up opportunities for their teammates. Their teammates don't make the play. That would have been good enough for Jared Ivey in a lot of cases, but he doesn't think it's good enough. Showcases that next level effort, helps make the tackle. All right, this is one of my favorite plays I've seen from Jared Ivey the entire preseason. And there he is right there, lined up on the inside eye of that tight end right there. We'll call that maybe a 6-eye technique, right? If the tight end wasn't there, if we could blot him out, we'd call that a 5 technique. But regardless, he's lined up right here. And the Green Bay Packers are going to run a play action. So they're going to fake to the running back inside, quarterback will then settle up in the middle of the pocket. And what they're going to do up front, offensive line-wise, is they're going to have the play side guys block down just like this. You can kind of see them already leaning that direction right at the snap. So you can see what's going to happen is that tight end's going to pick up Jared Ivey one-on-one. And what happens with Jared Ivey, a lot of times in this situation, defensive ends do one of two things. Either one, they freak out because they think it's a run and they bury themselves inside trying to stop the run and they get no pass rush. Or number two, they go right to pass rush right away, and if it would have been a run, they would have given up a big play. Ivey, fundamentally sound. Again, good football player. That's what this guy is. When the tight end goes to block him as if it's a run play, he engages, he maintains his gap, and the moment he recognizes it's a pass play, goes to his pass rush move and beats the tight end, helps flush the quarterback up the pocket into his teammates for a sack. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. There's a play action. You can see the offensive line. They're all going to their left, the right side of your screen there. Look at this tight end on Ivey. So Ivey thinks it's run. And the moment he sees his play action, oh my goodness, it's not run anymore. What does he do? Beats him over top, swim move, tackle has to come over, quarterback step up, goes down for a sack. Team player. Again, doesn't show up on the stat sheet, right? Does his job. On the tight end, thinks it's a run, stays on him, bench presses off, looking at him. Okay, it's not a run, it's a pass, transition, quick smooth move over the top, tackle has to come over, quarterback has to step up after he runs around the tackle, runs into his help. This is, again, great team defense, good football player. I mean, I know I've said this a bunch, but this is what you want, guys. Look, there are a lot of really great pass rushers and defensive linemen, and Ivey is one of them that can win one-on-one matchups. There are guys that can win against the run. There are guys that can win against the pass. They're good, fundamentally sound football players. Ivey's all of that, and I know it's a question of what his role will be on this team, and what even if he'll make the final 53, I think he's got to make it. I see plays like this. I've seen him play enough where I feel like he's such a huge value to the Seahawks team. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Ivey right there. The tight end's going to come on him. Again, bench press off right there, looking at the running back. Is it a run? Nope. Push pull, beat the tight end, get around the tackle too. Quarterback has to step up. The teammates are there to clean up. This is just really good technique, guys. Again, looking at Ivey. He feels the tight end go into him. If it's a run, look, face mask to face mask combat. Bench press off of him. Look at the running back. Oh, it's not a run, it's play action. You can see Ivey's looking around. He's looking out around the shoulder of the tight end right there. Then he push pull, swims over the top, pressure on the quarterback. Great effort here from 51. All right, how about a check the box kind of play? And there's Jared Ivey right there on the right side of your screen, lined up in a 5 technique on the outside shoulder of that tackle there. It's going to be a zone read. So you're going to have everyone up front for the offense working this direction. Again, following their zone read tracks just like this. And they're going to have the running back take this pass just like that. And the quarterback's going to turn his shoulders and act like he's reading Ivey right here. And if you're playing the zone read, you got to play your assignment just in case the quarterback does. If that's your assignment, keep it outside. So you can't just fly down inside unless that's your assignment. You got to respect the fact that it could be a pull read for the quarterback. But if it is a handoff and it ends up being not a pull by the quarterback and you weren't blocked, you were the read key, you still got to work down inside and make the tackle. It's a tough assignment, but it's a box you got to check. Ivey checks the box. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. We can see the zone read tracks across the board. Offensive line, running back. Look at Ivey. Again, he's looking at the quarterback. Quarterback. Okay, it is a give read. Runs down the line of scrimmage, dives and makes a tackle. Again, he's got a bum ankle, bum knee, right? He was beat up. Whatever was bothering him, it's very clear watching the film that he got cut earlier in the game on like a tight end working across the formation and just bothered him all game long. Had to leave the game for a few plays, but he comes back in, does his job, right? Watching the quarterback. Okay, it is a give. Work down the line of scrimmage and make the tackle. You got to check this box, guys. If you can't make this play as a defensive end, defensive lineman, you can't play. Here's the thing about Ivey. He is a big dude to be playing out here at 5 technique. That's the thing that's so crazy about him. This isn't like an outside linebacker. This isn't like, a Micah Parsons or someone like that, or a Khalil Mack standing on the outside here who's a linebacker playing defensive end or something like that. I mean, he's a big dude, Jared Ivey, and he still does his assignment, runs down the line of scrimmage, makes a tackle. Nice work. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Ivey right there at the top of your screen. So he's going to do his assignment, right? The moment he sees it's going to be a zone read, he works down, stays parallel to the line of scrimmage. You can see that shoulders, hips, knees. He's ready for the pull if the quarterback pulls it. And the moment he sees it's give, now runs down the line of scrimmage and makes a tackle. This is what you need to do. This is checking the box, guys. If you can't do this, you can't play defensive end in the National Football League. There's a lot of boxes you have to check for a bunch of different positions, guys. And everything I've seen from Ivey this entire preseason, I think he checks them all. Great player potentially for Seattle. All right, let's end on some fundamentally sound point of attack run defense. And there's Ivey right there lined up in a 5 technique on the outside shoulder of the tackle. So Ivey's responsibility here when it's all said and done, he's going to take this gap. That's just how it's going to work by the structure of their defense. And you can see by alignment, right? You've got this defensive lineman in this gap. You've got this edge defender here. You've got this linebacker kind of as this gap. So who is this gap? There's no one here. That's going to be Ivey. He's going to slant in, right? Just like that. But here's the thing: the Packers call a decent play. They got an outside run coming this way. So while this tackle, works up to the edge defender, this guard's going to work over to Ivey. Ivey's running right to him. This is sort of an offensive lineman you're trying to reach. This is what you want. You want to get this defensive lineman you're trying to reach running right to you. But Ivey, again, does a great job stonewalling him, beating him up at the point of attack with a good shock, a good punch, setting the edge, helping defend the run. Really nice job here by Jared Ivey, showcasing he's got great technique, fundamentally sound point of attack on top of everything else I mentioned. Let's check it out. All right, we get a little motion. There's a snap. You can see it's an outside run to the right side of your screen, the offensive right. You can see Ivey right there, right? He goes inside. That's his gap. And he gets shocked by the guard right there. The guard loves this, right? He thinks he's got him. But Ivey responds. Look at that arm extension. Look at him set the edge right there. Doesn't get reached. This is perfect technique. Maybe a little high. I mean, he gets punched right there. This guard comes out there with a little nastiness, a little attitude. Good job by number 60, right? He means business. He's fighting for a roster spot too. But Ivey does a great job. Good technique. Stays relatively parallel to the line of scrimmage. Ball comes out there, so the play's dead for the Green Bay Packers. But I tell you what, if this isn't a fumble, Ivey is right there. He did his job. You can see how this linebacker right here ends up taking his gap. They got every gap covered. Inside, linebacker filling these two gaps here. They've got it perfectly covered. If the running back would have bounced outside, Ivey would have been there to make the tackle. Fundamentally sound, good technique, strong player. Again, one arm extension right there, keeping the offensive line off him, taking his other arm right there and throwing his hand away too. He uses his hands better than any undrafted free agent, any late round draft pick. Heck, a lot of mid and first round draft picks don't use their hands as well as Jared Ivey. There's a lot of reasons why he went undrafted. I don't agree with most of them. I think he should make the Seahawks roster. I think the Seattle Seahawks defense would miss out if they don't add him to their 53.